Okay, so the JJK chapter 20 spoilers are out. I am crapping out this video for you guys at 4 AM in the morning. That is how ridiculous this chapter is, alright? I'm so glad I stayed up to read it, and I don't often decide to sit here and just make these videos on the spot, but it's so good. If you're a Yuji fan and a Yuji glazer, this chapter's for you. If you're a Dora glazer, this chapter's for you. If you're like me and thought that there was no way either Mahoraga or Dora would actually win the duel and lead to Yuka's death, then this is probably not the chapter for you, because it seems like that might have happened. I'm not going to waste any time, I'm just going to tell you guys what happened, so spoiler warning. Basically, chapter begins with Oski, the angry alien, jumping out of the skyscraper, and he basically goes with a battle axe over his head and tries to slam it down onto Yuji. Yuji doesn't even blink, he doesn't even look at him, he just catches it with one hand nonchalantly. Oski gets freaked out, and then Yuji, I can't believe I'm about to say this, it seems as though Yuji just straight up black flashes him at will. There's no translation yet that confirms this. I'm not going to say he can do it at will for certain, but it looks like it was just a casual little flick, and he sent him flying across the whole street with like just a backhand, and it was a black flash. He might be able to do it at will. I don't know. Let's not jump to conclusions, but it's crazy. Yeah. I guess people are also going to use that for agenda, saying, oh my god, a black flash from Prime Yuji didn't take out Oski in one hit. Whatever. There's this kind of interesting one-sided dialogue between Mino and Yuji, where Mino seems to be crashing out a bit, because he's like, Yuka's out there fighting a battle that you should be fighting, at least that's what it seems like. But Yuji, I'm not going to lie, it seems like he has actually gone a bit senile. It seems like he's talking to himself, right? Now, all the theories, they're done for because we see his face. There's no Kenjaku scar. There's no 4 eyes, alright? There's no, like, Sukuna still living in him. Sukuna still living in him. Sorry, it's late. I can't speak right now. But it does seem like he's actually just making no sense, right? He's talking to himself. He's saying things that... He seems like he's having a conversation, like Green Goblin style. But there's no one really saying anything to him, so it's like... He does seem, you know, we touched on themes of a sorcerer getting old and going senile with the old man in the beginning of the manga. It seems like he might be losing the plot, and he keeps talking like Gojo. He even says, like, Yuji Itadori doesn't matter anymore, which is such a Gojo thing to say. Gojo says that to him in the final chapter. And then later on, when he actually walks towards Dora vs Mahoraga, Yuji literally says out loud, is this okay, Gojo-sensei? Or I think he just says sensei, but he's obviously referring to Gojo. Is this okay, sensei? As in, like, shall I let this play out? I don't know, he's not really making any sense. It does seem like he's gone a bit delulu, but, you know, he's broken, I'm gonna be real, he's completely cracked, so who even cares? Anyway, yeah, Yuji basically confirms that even if, even if Maru beats Tsurugi, then Yuji will kind of like step in and clean up the mess for Tsurugi, and that he's also going to handle the massive, and I mean insane, tidal wave of grade 3 and 4 curses that are running away from the center of Tokyo where Dora and Mahoraga are fighting. So, and obviously Maru, who's now fighting Tsurugi, or Rika Tsurugi, has turned around and been like, oh my god, that is a lot of Kallians. If that presence I'm feeling is going to take them all out in one go, like, because obviously their third eye starts crying and they become incredibly weakened and hurt whenever Kallians die. So if that many die around him, that's going to do some significant damage and throw him off his game. So Maru starts like panicking when he sees this. He starts proper panicking. But yeah, Yuji basically says there's 4 opponents right now. There's the Maru Tsurugi fight. There's the Dora Mahoraga fight. As long as they don't interrupt each other, they're kind of okay to keep on chilling. I'm going to handle the wave of curses first, and then I'll clean up the mess afterwards. Again, translations are incredibly dodgy, so I'm just going based off what I know. This could be completely different context later. So Yuji then pulls up, and before we actually see that stuff, we cut back to Dora and Mahoraga, and Dora basically uses his newly... Oh, this guy is so broken, man, I don't get it. He uses his newly learned reverse curse technique to basically figure out for himself how curse technique reversal works. Like, even Gojo would have had a blueprint for how that worked. He would have known you can do it, because he has, obviously, information passed down from the Gojo clan about red and stuff. Dora just looks at, like, negative energy being turned into positive energy, goes, what happens if I pour this into my technique? And then he just creates this massive energy ball of dark energy, which is the reversal of his light, which obviously will one-shot Mahoraga if he lands a clean hit, because Mahoraga has not adapted to the reversal yet. The same way that, like, Gojo thought red would be able to take out Mahoraga, you know? And it does seem that in this chapter, he does just land the hit on Mahoraga, and in theory, based on the insane damage it did, and the fact that obviously reversal techniques are double the output of the base techniques, and the base technique was already frying Mahoraga, I think he actually destroyed him. I genuinely did not think Jjk would do that, but I think he's dead. I think the only saving grace for Yuka here is that Yuji seems very chill. He kind of is, it seems like he's basically almost internally believes he can still save Tsurugi and Yuka even if they both lose, which I guess isn't impossible because he should be able to output RCT since Sukuna's skill was engraved on him. You know, over the years, I expect he learnt that. So maybe he's going to be able to just bring them both back if they're like pretty fresh. But like, I mean, I guess Sukuna kind of did that with Megami, so it's not crazy to say that. But yeah, it does seem like Dabura just straight up annihilated Mahoraga. I think it's done. I think it's wraps. And he just learned or figured out technique reversal on the spot, and it looks dope. And the level of that attack was like, I'm sorry, man, I hate to say it, but when Gojo does blue, it doesn't do anywhere near as much damage as Dabura's base technique. And when Gojo does red, bro, Dabura's reverse curse technique reversal is comparable to a like hollow purple Fuga kind of attack when we see it in this chapter. It's the same, the like actual explosion radius and like the size of the impact of the explosion is like Sukuna and Gojo's ultimate move. And this is like his reversal. This is his red. Oh, let's not sleep on Dabura here. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. That's insane. Technique wise, he's above both of them. I'm sorry, he just is. Like, curse technique, just how it works, the curse technique and how much damage it can do is just above both Sukuna and Gojo. But anyway, that happens, and then simultaneously to him detonating that explosion on his side of the city, Yuji Itadori pulls up, just swipes his fingers, says dismantle. The biggest fuck off dismantle we have ever seen in the whole series, flies towards the curses and takes out the entire wave in a massive explosion. One dismantle. No, it's not a world-cutting slash just because it's big. There has been no chant, nothing, right? Even Sukuna, before the Binding Vow, would have had to have a two-handed chant, or seal and chant, to, like, do, you know, the world-cutting slash. Yuji's not doing that, so, like, it's just a dismantle. It just says dismantle. No world-cutting slash. Let's not jump to conclusions. And let's also not forget that, as much as it looks like it's on a massive scale, it's not a ridiculous, insane feat, because these are confirmed to be just grade 3 and 4 curses. So we don't know how strong the dismantle actually is in itself, but the scale of it is unlike any dismantle attack we've ever seen. Like, the actual scale of the one dismantle is ridiculous. But yeah, that's really cool. He takes them all out. He's just built different. Like, he is so unbelievably strong. And yeah, then we basically we kind of wrap up the chapter with Rika and Tsurugi locking in against Maru, who is now absolutely tweaking because all of those cursed spirits have just been annihilated at the same time around him, which obviously causes the Samurians to like genuinely start freaking out because then their third eye starts crying. So Maru is crashing out. Tsurugi then summons bloody soul split katana from Rika's storage of cursed tools because, you know, Rika has that. I don't know whether it's the original one that Toji had or the Mai one, because obviously there's two versions still in existence. I don't know which one it is. Doesn't matter. He pulls out a soul split katana, and then they land a shallow cut on Maru. Those guys are still fighting, and then Rika seems to fade away from Tsurugi and take the cursed energy with her, but leaves the soul split katana. So Rika's gone for now, but the soul split katana is still there, and they're still fighting. And he starts, like, the art in this chapter is ridiculous. There is one of Eagle's posts on Twitter says that Yuji's dismantle. Sorry, this is a little bit off topic. I forgot to add it in. There is a post on Twitter from Eagle that says Yuji's dismantle is like as big as Hollow Purple and Fuga. That's not a translation, that's just him saying it. Let's not, I don't want to see any comments being like, oh, the leaker said, translated it, and it says it's equal to Purple and Fuga. That's just him saying it based off what it looks like, the same way that I am. That wasn't a translation. Alright, let's get that clear. But yeah, basically Yuji pulls up, he's absolutely broken, he seems mentally unhinged, he's thinking a lot about Gojo and isolation. He seems very much out of it, not himself at all, which I don't blame him. And yeah, he just does some crazy stuff. Dabura does somehow even crazier stuff. Mahoraga, I don't know, maybe for some reason hasn't been exercised, but I don't see how Mahoraga survives an explosion, like an impact on that level to something he hasn't adapted to yet, so I think he's cooked. The only explanation here is that Yuji's gonna somehow still save Yuka. But yeah, that's the chapter. It's ridiculous. I don't even know. It's just crazy. Yeah, like, subscribe, blah blah blah. I'll see you for a full review soon.